I just finished a meeting with Kaylin, Parker, and Sheldon. They're students at the Okanagan College, and they're working on a computer software development project where they work with a local business, and they've selected my business, which I'm so grateful for. We had an awesome meeting, and we're going to be integrating all of our greenhouse and farm data that I'll bring you into my lab, and I'll show you that in a minute. But right now we're recording everything by hand. I have developed some spreadsheets, but the information isn't really relevant to me because I still need to get it on a computer and kind of calculate how the farm is working. So the whole point of this project is that we're going to be able to access everything on the farm. All my employees will be able to access this database, plug in real numbers, whether it's inoculating, harvesting, any kind of notes for the day. Maybe there's some problems. Everything's going to be integrated and recorded, and then I'm going to be able to develop a production schedule for the farm and hopefully fine-tune problems moving forward. So really excited to be working on this project with the Okanagan College, and I really excited just to have the opportunity to work with some students. It's a lot of fun. I did stuff like this when I was in school, and I look forward to working with these guys. So anyways, guys, that's all I wanted to talk about that. I'm going to bring you guys into the lab. I'm going to discuss today a little bit of our overwintering, and I have a couple interesting stuff that I noticed when I was giving the team a tour of the farm today. So let's check that out. So with the overwintering, I have a couple interesting stuff going on right now. We have blocks in lab 2 that are frozen, and we have production that didn't quite meet its potential at the end of the season in greenhouse 5 and greenhouse 1. So these blocks, they fruited about 25% of their yield, and I know that mycelium can freeze, and we're trying to come up with strategies that will allow us to kind of push the envelope and really kind of have a really productive April, because it is difficult. As you see, there's still a lot of snow on the farm here, and my farm is outdoors, so getting the farm started this time of year does have its challenges. So when we're able to continue on with production in the greenhouses, or we're able to overwinter inoculated blocks in the lab, this kind of gives us a little bit more options. The only problem I'm having right now is that the sun will dry out the blocks, so we're trying some different strategies. We're letting this lab freeze, and I've closed the doors. We don't have any air coming in there, and it's just maintaining about 2 Celsius right now. It's warmed up a little bit with the weather warming up, but the blocks are still frozen. So essentially it's like a big refrigeration unit. And with the greenhouses back here, we have a big trucker tarp which has been draped over the shelf to really darken the area. And then this one we've left exposed. And what's interesting is I brought the guys in here to show them the greenhouse today, and we have mushrooms fruiting in greenhouse 1. They're just starting, but greenhouse 5, we don't have any mushrooms fruiting except the few areas that have sun exposure. So I find this really interesting, and I'm going to bring you guys in to those greenhouses now, and then I'm going to bring you into this lab, and I'll show you guys those production sheets that I talked about that I'm going to be working with the Okanagan College to get that in a database. So let's go check out greenhouse 1. So we have all the holes in the bags taped up, but as you can see, mushrooms are still starting to push out of these holes that we have taped up with tuck tape. So there's no water in this greenhouse right now. The misting fans, they're shut off. We run everything with the humidistat, but I'm still worried about the water lines freezing, so the water's not on here. But because there's a lot of snow still around the farm, the humidity on the farm is still pretty high, but we still are getting a little bit of sun damage, as you can see here. But what's interesting is these are just passively grown in the winter, and they grow slow. And some of these I might be able to sell if I want to, but if anything, I can use these for my cooking, and I have some mushrooms to eat now. There's nothing wrong with these. So this greenhouse has sun exposure, has humidity, and it has a little bit of natural air coming in, but the air exchange in here is still really minimal. So the mushrooms are growing slower with the temperature outside, which means they don't need as much fresh oxygen in this space. Otherwise, if the temperatures were increased, with the way that we've sealed this up, we don't have the front window open or the back window. All we have are these little side windows. You would see the stems of the mushrooms probably elongating quite a bit, but temperature in this case plays a role, and the mushrooms are just growing really slow, and they have, you know, a little bit of frost damage on there, but it's still not that bad. So some of these I can probably sell if I want to, and I'll be monitoring this greenhouse as the season progresses. We're probably going to get in here and harvest everything tomorrow and just kind of reset these blocks, and then I might start putting a bucket of water on the floor just to add a little extra humidity in this space, and we'll passively let these mushrooms fruit. But it's, you know, it's really interesting to see what can happen in the winter, and it's really interesting to see these blocks survive freezing and now they're fruiting again. But what's even more interesting is greenhouse number 5. So I'm going to bring you guys into this one and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So this greenhouse, we have a huge trucker tarp over all the shelves. Now it's not perfect. There are some exposed areas. And what I'm going to show you guys is I'm going to take this tarp off. I'm going to just lift it up over the canopy. And there are no mushrooms fruiting where it's been really dark. And then there are mushrooms fruiting where there's a little bit of light. So I got the tarp off, and this greenhouse has the same conditions as greenhouse 1, but you can see nothing's popping out through here. In this case, light has been the trigger. I'll bring you guys over there. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's mushrooms fruiting right there where there's a little bit of light exposed. So like I said, the trucker tarp is not perfect, but this has proved the theory that light in almost kind of refrigeration and freezing temperatures, if you can reduce the light, we can actually prevent fruiting, which is really interesting to me. So let's bring you guys around the side here so you can see this is exposed quite a bit, and this is where we have mushrooms fruiting. You know, this is really interesting. So I think if I'm going to overwinter production that quite hasn't yielded what we're looking for in November, I think probably these trucker tarps and just do a better job at darkening this space is probably going to be a way to go, and that's going to be a great way for us to push the season, maximize the production that we had out in November, but also get an early start to end of March and April. So I'll keep you guys posted on this, but I'm going to bring you guys into lab 2 and show you what's going on in there. So it's still pretty cold in here. It's probably about plus 10 today. It's really warm. Whereas in the lab, it's been running about 2 Celsius. I guess it's warmed up a little bit. It's 6 Celsius in there. But these blocks are still frozen. And they've fruited a little bit. You guys can see in there. But I think they're going to still yield us quite a bit of mushrooms. What's really interesting is that this is all just done passively. We have an intake on the other side of this wall here. So this flow hood will pull air from underneath the table. This will recirculate air, and then it'll pull in air from outside of this wall here as well. And then these flow hoods mix everything in this plenum just underneath here. So all I've done is I've just taken this filter out and I've exposed the motor, and we're just letting air from outside naturally just passively just kind of come into the lab without even running the motor. And that's been enough to keep this lab frozen. And I really like this because none of these blocks have been cut yet. So this is a great way to do it, is kind of just shut one lab down and fill it with blocks. And then if we have any production that we haven't maximized, you leave it in the greenhouse. And as you're seeing, light is definitely a trigger for fruiting. So much so that the mushrooms are actually going to push through the tape. But if we darken the shells with the trucker tarp and make them really dark, they're actually not wanting to fruit. Now, I don't know how long we can push this. Possibly we're going to see some fruiting start pretty soon, but obviously it's given us a few more weeks to kind of postpone the fruiting, because right now we're not looking to fruit mushrooms just yet. But if the weather does stay warm, then I can probably take advantage of this weather and start getting a harvest for some restaurants, and I won't have a problem selling those mushrooms. So that's kind of what we're doing for overwintering right now, and I'm starting to see some really interesting stuff. And I'll definitely be figuring out which yields more harvest, and we have a couple different stuff to compare to. I even have some blocks that I left in lab 1 that I didn't freeze, so I can even compare non-frozen versus previously frozen and see if there's a difference in yield there. So I'm going to be recording everything with these sheets here, and these are the sheets that I have Okanagan College working on for us right now, and that project should be done by end of April. But basically, I've talked about this a little bit. I'm going to walk you guys through that right now. So the whole point of this system is that we're tracking batch numbers. Now, as of right now, we track a batch number when it gets in the lab. So for us, that's a letter. And we start with A, we end with Z, and we then reset the alphabet. Now, with these guys, we might just do an actual batch number. And I think we're looking to start at bagging. So during production, that day we'll get a batch number, it'll get recorded, and we'll mention, substrate mix, wood type, anything that we need to note for that day, how much was in the batch, and then that will then get followed all the way from lab to filling the greenhouse to harvesting. And the way this works right now is everything gets recorded by hand. We put in the batch. So in this case, G1, we did 050, which is our pearl oyster. We also did HE069, which is our lion's mane. So we did 2 different species that day on August 9th in 2017. And then we record the species. So in this case, the species was elm for the wood type, so Siberian elm, and then the number of bags, who was inoculating, possibly what happened that day, if there's any notes. So in this case, we wrote 50 B1, and then that actually correlates to B1 just up here, if you guys can see that. So we'll make notes kind of throughout what's going on, and then eventually we pull these batch numbers and they fill into the greenhouse, and then we record how many days that took us to fill. So an example here is greenhouse 2. We started August 21st, we ended on the 28th. It took us 8 days to fill, or sorry, that would be 7 days to fill. And it has a recording of all the different batch numbers, but we also record just the common name for species. So pearl, elm, pink, king oyster, and chestnut. And then that then gets recorded in the greenhouse, and we'll record, greenhouse 4 what common species there were, what was harvested. We have an AM and a PM harvest shift, daily harvest for the greenhouse, total AM, PM for the day, and then a total daily harvest. And then that all gets recorded. And then we have temperature readings, humidity, any kind of notes. The point is this has really helped my business, but it doesn't really give me the big picture to streamline production. So by getting this in a database where all my employees can enter, we can all access that information. We can start developing a proper schedule for the business. We can start fine-tuning problems. We can print out graphs and kind of see like which greenhouses are producing better than others, what species was in it, possibly what were the temperature ranges for that growth cycle. Anything that we can get information to be more profitable and generate a more streamlined business is where we're headed. So I'm so excited to be working with Okanagan College for this. This is a project that I picked up last year working on these sheets. I had some help developing these with a former employee. And now we're taking that idea and we're just making it so much better. All right, guys. Well, other than that, my year is just getting started and I'm getting really busy actually right now. I'm just starting to finish my workbook for our 2018 students. That's coming along really well. That's probably going to get turned into a book eventually, especially with all the really awesome, interesting stuff that I'm working on this year. All of that's going to get put in the book. But I have a rough kind of outline of what's been current in the business right now, and I have something really awesome put together, and I should have that finished in a couple weeks for our students coming. And thank you so much if you've already signed up for my course. We're already booking into August for 2018. If you guys haven't had a look at my course, details are on my website. Leave a link below. Check that out, guys, because it's been such an amazing experience for me to teach you guys what I'm doing, and I've made so many interesting connections all around the world. I just signed up someone from New Zealand actually a couple weeks ago. So it's been incredible how many people have been connecting with my business, and I've been so happy to share with you guys. So that's all for now, guys. We'll talk to you later.